Hello friends, myself Professor B.D. Bhoknal, Botany Department, Associate Professor, KTHM College, Nasik. Now today's topic is now the fungi. Now within fungi, distinguishing or the characters of fungi. Now what is fungi? Fungi, singular now the fungus are a kingdom of usually multicellular eukaryotic organisms that are heterotrophs. It means they cannot make their own food material, and such type of habit it is generally known as heterotrophic in habitat and have important role in nutrient cycling in an ecosystem. Fungi, it reproduces both now sexually and asexually, and they also have symbiotic association with plants and now the bacteria. Now to understand the symbiotic association, take example of now lichen. Now in lichen, both the partners are benefited to one another without harming. Now lichen, it is association of both the partner. It include now these fungi as well as it include the algae, and this thing it is generally known as now the lichen. Now these algae it produce the food material, and instead of that now it remain inside the fungal thallus. So such type of association is present among now these lichen. Fungi distinguishing characters. Now thallus consists of network of branch filaments known as now the hyphae. The mass of hyphae is termed as mycelium, and the mycelium it may be septate or aseptate. Now in case of fungi within mycelium sometime now a cross wall or septas are present, and while in another cases now this cross wall or septa it is totally absent, and such type of hyphae it is generally known as aseptate type of hyphae in case of fungi. In a septate hyphae, now the mycelium is cenocytic. Now, generally within a single cell, now single nucleus is there normally, but in some cases, now many nuclei they are present within the single cell, and such type of condition it is generally known as cenocytic condition. So this cenocytic condition which is present in case of now aseptate forms, where the mycelium is aseptate, there it generally shows now cenocytic condition. It is now heterotrophic in nutrition. Now in case of these fungi, now chlorophyll is totally absent, so they can obtain their food material from now another organism, and such type of habit they cannot prepare their own food material, and such type of habit it is generally known as heterotrophic in nutrition. It may be saprophytic or it may be parasitic. Now here in case of this saprophytic in nutrition, now the saprophyte it grows on dead organic matter, and these organisms are known as saprophytic organism, and the organism now it grows on living now these plant body or living things, and such type of now these habit it is generally known as parasitic type of now the habit. Now to understand that the saprophytic in nutrition, take example of now agaricus or wood rotting fungus, which is generally present on now the wood. Then another parasitic type of fungus. To understand that, take example of number of now diseases occurs on the plant body. For example, now albigo, rust, smut, then now the green ear of bajra, then now these number of now these diseases occur on living now the plant, and it is generally known as parasitic in habitat. Next, now the study of fungi, generally known as now the mycology. Now some fungi are symbionts, example lichens and mycorrhiza. Now to understand that, take example of mycorrhiza. Now the roots of higher plants, for example, now the angiosperms and gymnosperms, they are generally associated with now these fungi, and this thing it is generally known as now the mycorrhiza. So the association is present among the roots of higher plant and fungi, and such type of association it is generally known as now the mycorrhiza. Now it increases the yield of now that particular plant. When the fungal cell is now without now chlorophyll, and the cell wall is made up of fungal cellulose, the reserve food material, it is present in the form of now glycogen in fungi, and it grows in now diverse habitat. It means fungi, it is generally present everywhere. Fungi present in air, fungi present in now soil, and fungi present in water also. Now some insectivorous now fungi are present. Some fungi they are found on insect also. That is now habit of fungi. Next, reproduction. Reproduction it generally takes place by three methods. Now the vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Now the vegetative reproduction it generally takes place by fragmentation method or budding method. Now in case of fragmentation method, now by accidentally the fungal mycelium it is broken down into number of pieces, and each piece it gives rise to new individual likewise, and such type of reproduction is generally known as fragmentation method by vegetative now type of reproduction. Then the budding. Now these budding of now these vegetative type of reproduction which is commonly observed in case of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, or commonly it is generally known as now the yeast. Now in case of yeast, the mother or the parent cell it generally form a protrudence or small outgrowth is formed. Then the division of nucleus generally takes place, karyokinesis, cytoplasmosis, and at the end now these protrudence or outgrowth it detach from the parent now plant, and it develop into new individual, and such type of reproduction it is generally known as now the budding method in case of now the yeast. Asexual reproduction it generally takes place by the zoospore formation, conidiospore formation, or basidios formation. Now to understand that asexual reproduction it generally takes place by now the conidiospore formation. Now this conidia which is commonly observed in case of now albigo candida or now the cystopus candidus. Now here in case of these fungal mycelium now with it obtain entry inside the now leaf of the plant body, and the vegetative growth takes place, and at the end it produces the conidiophore, and these conidiophore it cuts off now the large number of conidia, and such type of reproduction now known as conidiospore formation type of reproduction, a sexual method. Then sexual reproduction, it generally takes place by planogametic copulation. Now in planogametic copulation, both the gametes, they are now planogametic copulation, it is of now three type: iso, aniso and oogamous type of planogamic copulation. Now in case of isogamous type of sexual reproduction, now both the sexes are similar in size, or both the gametes are similar in size and shape, and the union take place among them, and such type of reproduction it is generally known as isogamous type of now the sexual reproduction. While in case of uniso, it means dissimilar. The one gamete which is smaller in size and the gamete which is bigger in size. The gamete which is smaller in size known as now the male gamete, and the gamete which is bigger in size known as now the female gamete. Anisogamous fusion take place within these two different gamete, and the process it is generally known as anisogamous type of now the sexual reproduction in case of fungi. Then the third oogamous type of reproduction. Now, oogamous type of reproduction which is highly evolved. The male sex organ it is generally known as now the antheridium, and the female sex organ it is generally known as now the oogonium in case of, and such type of reproduction it is generally known as now the oogamous type of reproduction. Then sexual reproduction it generally take place by now the gametangial copulation. Now within these gametangia, or within these vegetative hyphae, within this hyphae, now one hyphae which act as a male gametangia, another hyphae which act as a now the female gametangia. Then these two filaments they came close to each other, and the wall in between them it get dissolved, and there is exchange of material, and now here they form the zygote, and these zygote which is generally now diploid, and then it divide and redivide, and lastly it give rise to now the spore in case, and such type of reproduction it is generally known as gametangial copulation. Spermatization and somatogamy. Then now the examples of these fungi, now the mucor, commonly known as now the bread mold, then the rhizopus, then now Puccinia, commonly known as now the rust, then now the yeast, now the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, commonly known as now the yeast, then Cercospora, now Arachidicola and Cercospora personata, now they cause the disease, and this disease it is generally known as now the ticca disease of groundnut in case of now these fungi. Thank